Hello everybody and welcome to another Mystery Box Function Challenge. In this purple box we've got some mystery math and your challenge is to figure out what that is. You can use the link in the description to try this out, and when you think you've got an idea, come on back and see if we get the same thing. Let's start with a 0. Alright, so that's pretty small, but it looks like 0 gives us negative 0.3 repeating, so that's negative 1/3. How about a 1? That is a negative 2 2/3. How about a 2? Negative 5. Oh, that might be a useful point. So far this appears like it might be a linear function. That looks like a straight line to me. Let's see if it continues in the negative direction. Put in a negative 1. And that gives us a 2. Oh, nice. So if we're trying to figure out the slope, it's nice to have those last 2 points because they fall on those whole numbers. It still looks like a line to me. I think what I'm going to do is test a point pretty far to the right and pretty far to the left. I'll expect them to be off the graph, but what I want to see is if they continue in the same direction, because I'm concerned this still might be an absolute value function where we haven't seen where it takes that sharp turn yet. So let's put in a 9. And this should be a big negative number off the graph if it continues in the same way. Yeah, so big negative number, negative 21 there. Let's try a negative 9, and this should be a big positive number if it's continuing in this linear fashion. Yep, and that is a big positive number. Okay, so I'm pretty confident this is a linear function. And when you're dealing with a linear function, you've got that basic form of the equation, the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Y-intercept pretty easy to find. Wherever x is 0, that's your y-intercept. And we've got negative 0.3 repeating, so I think this is minus 1/3 for our y-intercept. The slope is rise over run. And I think the easiest way to do that is when you have a couple of points like these two, this point here and this point here, which fall right on the whole numbers, right on the hash marks in the graph, you can just count the rise and the run. Now, from this point to this point, the rise is going to be negative because we're going down. And let's just count that value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to get on the same line with that point. So I think our rise is negative 7. And then the run is 1, 2, 3. Does that line up? Yep. So 3 over. So that should be our slope. And our equation is going to be negative 7/3 times x minus 1/3. So I'm pretty confident about this, but let's test with one more point. Let's see, what if we put in a negative 3? What would we get? So that's negative 7/3 times negative 3 minus 1/3. So negative 7/3 times a negative 3, those negative signs are going to cancel out, and the 3 here will cancel with the 3 here. So we just get a positive 7 minus 1/3. So this should be 6 2/3 if we put in a negative 3. So let's give that a try. Negative 3. And yes, we get 6.6 repeating. That's 6 2/3. So I think we've got this. I'm going to reveal. Yeah, negative 7/3 x minus 1/3. And let's graph. We've got that sharply sloping downward line that cuts through the y-axis at negative 1/3. Well, how did that go for you? Were you able to determine the slope of this linear function? Let me know. Thanks, everybody.